Alabama gets a 2026 high school commitment at a time when the portal is just going nuts.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSAA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. I want to thank you, everydayers, for watching every day because you help make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network there is. You are the best. Jimmy, we got a lot to talk about. The Bediako stuff is like driving people nuts. And the more I think about this, the more I'm like, play him. Just play him and let the rough end drag, as they say. We also want to talk about On3's top 100 players for 2026, and it's kind of scary to me. But we start off with a commitment from a wide receiver in the state from Moody, Alabama. They have a really good program. They have a really good quarterback. But this wide receiver has committed to Alabama. A bit of a surprise. He's like the number 70-something player in the state of Alabama. I mean, I'm going to look it up here in a second to be sure exactly where it is. And his stats certainly don't blow you away. But his stats are 29 receptions, 490 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Aubrey Walker, he's actually more of an athlete, but I'm assuming we're going to play him at wide receiver because we need the bodies.
Right. Yeah, he's going to be a wide receiver at Alabama. I really like what we've done here, and this is the explanation as to that. I'm sure some people would be confused if they're just applying the old rules, the old recruiting rules, because this is a recruit. This has nothing to do with the transfer portal. This is straight out of high school guy in the 26th class, which means he'll be on the football team in 2026 this fall. Look, wide receiver 1 through 6 is already spoken for. And Alabama really only played 4 guys last year in the first team rotation, although that did extend to 6 at times. But they have 6 that we all should be very excited about, that all look very healthy and ready to go. Ryan Williams, Latsier Brooks, Noah Rogers, the NC State transfer, Rico Scott, Derek Meadows, and C.D. Morgan, who is no question a freshman who should be ready to play early by all accounts. I mean, you'll be hard-pressed finding an expert that wouldn't say C.D. Morgan's not an excellent candidate to be in the first team rotation, even as a true freshman. So you got 6 guys. Well, you would like to have 10, but you can't go into the portal and talk to players about transferring to Alabama and sell them on, we really need you to be wide receiver number 8. Who are you going to get if you're trying to sell kids on being wide receiver 7, 8, 9, or 10? You're only going to get kids who feel honored to wear an Alabama uniform while they stand on the sidelines. Now, there are kids that exist like that, but they generally aren't kids that you expect to be impactful. So what they did, instead of going to the portal and just grabbing a senior from, say, Dartmouth, which they could have easily done if they wanted to, they said, let's find a couple of high school kids that we can develop. We're not expecting them to be a thing right now, but they might be things down the road. And the thing about Aubrey from Moody, Aubrey Walker, is he has run a verified sub 4.4. It's verified. That's not him saying he's running 4.4. It's not his coach saying he's running 4.4. He went to an Under Armour camp where they record all the times, and he ran a 4.39. That's why Alabama kept his name in the Rolodex. It's why they were aware of him. And when the opportunity happened for Alabama to bring him in on scholarship, they did. Probably he's getting 0 rev share, probably won't be much of an NIL type guy. This is what amounts to the old school walk-on who's now granted a scholarship to be on the team and part of the 105. So I like it because this kid has potential upside and is a developmental guy that might be good. And if it never pans out, it never pans out. Again, he wasn't brought here to be wide receiver 1 through 6 immediately. That's sort of covered. So this is wide receiver depth. And it's interesting depth because the kid does have legitimate upside with that speed. And Moody's a really good program, by the way.
They are a fantastic program. It dawned on me while you were talking about that, about the rev share. I mean, I'm assuming he's getting none of that, or very little. But the NIL, what would be a decent strategy? If you had somebody in Moody okay, that owned a business, and you said, all right, we're kind of thinking about doing this. Could you sponsor him? If we sign him, could you sponsor him? Now, I know I doubt you're supposed to be able to do that.
I think Alabama is allowed to facilitate third-party deals. As long as a third-party deal, Alabama is allowed to facilitate those things.
But see, that way he gets some money and some incentive to go, and it's really not much off Alabama's back, and he's probably so cheap, it's not so much off the Moody business's back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is, obviously you're giving the kid a scholarship, and that's great that Alabama can give out 105 of those things now. It used to be 85. But here's one part. I see this mentioned all the time, and gosh, having a rules explainer pinned at the top would be a good idea because this stuff gets so complicated. What fans need to know in terms of what the rules are, you can give 105 scholarships now, that your total can be 105, but you don't have to give 105. You can give 20. I mean, now no one's going to do that and expect to win big. Everyone's going to do at least 85, the old rule, but you can do 105. And now that means that these, quote, walk-on types get scholarships. Used to have 125, 135 guys out there, and only 85 were on scholarship, and about 40 of them were pure walk-ons. There will still be pure walk-ons, a couple of them committed to us out of the transfer portal, but most of the kids on the 105 will be on scholarship, like this kid, Aubrey Walker, and MJ Mathis, the other wide receiver from Georgia, who, by the way, a lot like this kid. I mean, in the sense they're very similar signees, signed for the same reason. They see some upside in them. They're developmental, and for now, they're going to be roughly, I would guess, wide receivers 8 and 9 on the football team.
Yeah. And meanwhile, in the portal, there was some hubbub yesterday about Gerard Pringle. Mm-hmm. No relation to the Pringles that used to advertise with us. They never actually did back when it was talking to exclusive, but we tried to get them to just by saying their name over and over, and all we got was a cease and desist letter.
Didn't work. I'm going to contact them. Now that we're huge stars, I'm going to contact them again.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a number on the can. Got to be. All right. So Gerard Pringle, there was some talk that potentially he would be looking at Alabama. In fact, like everybody that was posting about this said Alabama's receiving the most buzz about this guy. I never got that confirmed through anybody or through any of the message boards or moderators. And now it looks like he's going to stay at Miami. I mean, I'm fine with it. Look, I would have liked if Gerard Pringle wants to come to Alabama, fine. But that's not a make or break deal to me. Somebody else from Miami that is in the transfer portal is Josiah Trader. And now that's one that I would certainly be willing to look at. But again, we just got Aubrey Walker that makes receiver number 9, I think. And so do you go get another receiver? And he probably will command some decent money. So I'm not sure that that's going to work. But I just found it interesting that Miami's had a couple of guys at least flirt with the portal.
Yeah, Pringle, the running back, certainly a name connected to Alabama in some way. Wouldn't have been shocking at all to find there's communication there. The situation at running back in the portal is this, and I've been searching for a way to word this, but I think Alabama doesn't need a guy from the portal at running back. They'll take a dude. They'll take a dude. Like a dude they'll take. They don't need a guy. They've got guys. They don't need depth. The wide receiver, they needed some depth. They didn't have enough depth. That's why they're taking these 2026 high school kids. Running back, they don't need depth. They don't need a guy. They don't need to go take Dre Washington again like they did last year from Lafayette, to use a name that everybody that listens to the show knows. They don't need to do that. But they would take a dude, someone they identified as a real difference maker in the room. Pringle is a guy with that crazy athletic ability. I mean, now he doesn't have a lot of experience, but he's viewed as a guy that could truly be a big-time type guy. Now, myself, this is what I'm doing at running back, just my own outlook on it. I'm violating every rule I've ever had about expectations for a freshman. I think they're dangerous. I think, frankly, they're dumb. But, hey, it's not going to be the first time I did something dumb. I really think E.J. Crowell basically is our transfer portal running back because I think he's going to provide an instant impact to the team, to the depth chart. And I'm not going to predict that he's running back number 1 for Alabama, RB1. I'm not going to predict that, but I want to. I want to because I think it might happen. And again, when you're talking about a dude with, my comp for him has always been Bijan Robinson. That's always been my comp for EJ Crowell. And when you have Bijan Robinson level talent, it's not crazy to think you could be really impactful year one. You're on mute. You're probably saying something really wise about that.
Okay, that brings me up to my next point, which I appreciate our buddy Michael Asian Jimmy Southern putting this. He's always putting together these great GIFs or memes. I'm not sure which is which, but he put this one together. And if you wanted to get your shirts, get them early. Now, the one thing I said to him, the first thing I noticed was like, why does AI think Jimmy and I are so fat? And then he said, okay, well, I'll slim you down.
Okay.
That's much better.
That's actually it's a little more accurate, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, like I said on the board the other day, I mean, I'm heavier than I've probably ever been, but I'm also, 172 pounds, I think. So I don't understand the 200 plus Jimmy memes, but
I do have a problem with this one in the sense that either you've grown 8 inches or I've shrunk 8 inches.
That's a good point. I'm like 5'8" and Luke's like 6'5". So we're getting the shirts are funny, which I think was the point of the meme. Yeah. The shirts were funny.
Yeah. But fat Luke and Jimmy it's less funny when it's you.
We ought to go with something different than internet legend, which I've never really been comfortable with. I mean, I know it's kind of funny because to me it's funny. But we ought to go with something else. I was thinking of what to go with. I'm the former president of Baldwin County Red Elephant Club. What about Mr. President?
That's much better. That's so much more modest.
It's more accurate.
Well, you do remember, I had to come up with something on the fly because at the time you were employed by Bama Online. And so
I guess we could say former BOL, but I like Mr. President.
I like Mr. President too.
Okay. We'll roll with that tomorrow.
Leader of the free world.
We'll see what the outcry is.
Let's tell everybody about FanDuel now, because FanDuel is the best. I'm just saying. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL game day playoff, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts, and you can apply the bets you like the most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boost you want to apply. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. So visit FanDuel. Go check out FanDuel on the app or online, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Jimmy Stein guarantee.
Yeah, speaking of FanDuel, how exciting are those NFL games Sunday? I'm just stoked for both. I think they're both going to be a lot of fun. And I got Patriots Seahawks, a repeat of that Super Bowl where Malcolm Butler picked off Russell Wilson at the goal line when they should have handed it to Marshawn Lynch.
I'm going to tell you that one, it just doesn't do a lot. I don't know why. I've never loved the Seahawks. I did when Sean Alexander was on there. But the Seahawks have some gumps on the team now, so I can get behind it a little bit more. And I am a big Anthony Jennings fan because he's from right up the road in Dadeville, Alabama. That's a great point. Played for Alabama. So he's still doing his thing.
The Rams have no Bammers.
I'm anti-Ram.
The Broncos have a couple, Pat Surtain and Q Robinson. And they're easy to root for. They're great guys to root for. But the Seahawks are full of Bammers. They have Jalen Milroe, Robbie Oost, who plays a big role for them.
Yep.
And Josh Jobe, who plays quite a bit. And, of course, Jaron Reed, probably the most under-talked about best defender at Alabama in the Saban era. I'm not saying he's the best, but I'm saying whenever we go over who are the best defenders of the Saban era, we never mention Jaron Reed. And, frankly, he deserves it. That kid was great. What I liked about him, I remember him, he was really good right away, like off the bus good. And that's pretty rare.
So – On3 came out with their top 100 players for 2026. This is excruciatingly early, no doubt about it. But the one thing that jumps out to me, have you looked at the list? I don't know, Jimmy. Are you dead? Did you look at the list?
No. I had a little technical problem there for 1 second. I think you're about to talk about the On3 top 100.
Yeah, well, you did have
Yeah, I blinked. I had a tech issue.
Did you? Have you seen the list?
I have seen the list. I have seen it. I haven't studied it, so I can't spit it out. But I was disappointed in terms of at least one Alabama name.
Well,
sort of outraged me. And keep in mind, I'm doing what On3 was doing for all of college football. We're doing every day here on Alabama's roster,
right?
A ranking of the roster, not a ranking of the top 100 players in college football. So I was very interested in any Alabama players they mentioned and how it married up with how I have ranked the top as we speak. And boy, one name was missing that I thought was pretty outrageous.
Well, let me tell you the Bammers first. First of all, it's disturbing that there's only 4. Pre-Saban, if there had been 4 players in the top 100, we'd be dancing a jig. I don't know if people dance jigs anymore. We would have figured it out. But right now, you got number 43 is the first one, Yanzi Pierre. 46 is Bray Hubbard. 52, Mike Carroll. That one caught my eye. And then skeeting in there at the last second, got to find a better way to say that, is number 100, Keon Sabb. Now, I'm wondering, first of all, there's no Ryan Williams. I'm assuming that's who you're talking about.
Actually,
or no. Xabian Brown.
Yeah, Xabian is who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think Xabian Brown should be first team preseason All-American. First team. That to me means top 22. That's where I think he should be. I don't understand that. I get the Ryan Williams. I get the Ryan Williams disrespect, but I'm not for it because I think it's wrong. I get it. I think people are surprised to learn some things about how productive Ryan has been despite the issues last year. Again, only 4 receivers in the history of Alabama football have caught more yards for more balls in their first 2 years in the program. Only 4, and they're all first-round picks. So I think Ryan deserves to be top 100. I know Xabian does. And frankly, if you're well, you're just being an Alabama homer, I wouldn't include Keon Sabb. I think Sabb is good, and I think he's one of the better safeties in the SEC, but I wouldn't include him in the top 100 of America, so I'm not being super homerish here. And I think and they have Michael Carroll too high, but I love the shout-out to Yanzi Pierre. They have Bray Hubbard too low. He was a first-team All-American last year per some accounts. Boy, he muted twice. Michael Southern's going to have to make 2 shirts. Michael Southern's going to have to make another shirt. We got another meme on the way.
The other thing that's scary to me is how many guys that we play from other teams that are on this list. Dylan Stewart is number 3. Well, we don't play him, but Kewan Lacey from Ole Miss is number 7. I think that's justified. And Ahmad Hardy from Missouri is number 8. 2 great running backs here. Cam Coleman 10, Sam Levitt at 11. Jacarius Peak, doesn't that make you mad? He's at number 14. Xavier Atkins at Auburn at number 16. I'm going to tell you something.
Great.
Every ounce of my being wants to say that's way too high. I'm going to be honest, it's not too high. Xavier Atkins was a dude.
He is. He might win the Buckus Award next year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fantastic football player. How about this year, Luke? I think an Auburn player will go in the draft ahead of any Alabama player. I was wondering. I could be really wrong here because I haven't looked up any of this. I haven't researched any of it, but it just feels like it's been a long time since an Auburn guy was selected in the draft before an Alabama player was, because I think Keldrick Falk is going to go higher than Ty or Proctor. That's what I believe today. So it is a little jarring to look ahead to next year and see their linebacker, Xavier Atkins, much higher on the list than any Alabama player. But again, I think Alabama is going to be underrated and underregarded across the board in all things going forward right now. So I guess I shouldn't be shocked.
I mean, my guess is the last time I was even close was 2020. Derek Brown went 7th and Tua Tagovailoa went 4th. That's probably the last time it was even close. But anyway, I was going to go through a few more. Lenora Sellers at 23. Marcus Ratcliffe, the safety for A&M at number 25. Mario Craver at 33. Gosh, I'd really love to have him on our team. Prince Will Umanuman, who's now at LSU, at number 28. Kelly Jones from Mississippi State's in there. we just play a lot of these dudes. I mean, it's again, and three of like the top 23 are from South Kakalaki. So everybody's just chalking that game up as a freebie, and we're going to win it. South Carolina is going to be a problem.
And that probably doesn't even include. I wonder if they have Nick Harbor. I can't remember if Nick Harbor's anywhere on the list. South Carolina's top 5 or top 10 players match up with anybody's in the league. Their problem is everything below that. Alabama, I think the strength of Alabama's roster is the depth down to about 60, 65 players. I think Alabama's 60, 65 guys, they match up with anybody. Ohio State, Georgia. I think where Alabama falls behind, and this list does highlight this, and I've already said this, and I think the list sort of verifies it, though I have a lot of disagreements with the list, and that is that Alabama's star power, and by stars, I mean true stars, fewer than normal. It's the DBs. That DB group is the best in college football. And then Ryan and Lottie at wide receiver, and Yanze Pierre, and that's about it in terms of proven stars. I just feel that players that right now are not proven certified stars will become so this fall, and that's going to be the thing that evens things out for Alabama.
Yeah, Ryan Williams not being on there is going to shock a lot of people, but I'm with you. I think Xabian Brown's absence is more unjustified. Ryan Williams is more shocking because you would think he'd still be on there just for the one play against Georgia as a freshman. But one other thing I want to get to before we go to this next break. So the AHSAA is doing its reclassifications today.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen it, but this is happening in real time as we're recording this.
I've not seen it.
Of course, I'm with the AHSAA radio network, so like I'm on a big group text chain with some folks, and it appears there's going to be 6 classes in public schools. We're going back to 6 classes and 2 classes for private school. But the private schools aren't going to just play themselves. It looks like there's going to be like a combination of everything. But when it comes to championships, there's going to be 2 private schools that play for championships. Like it's not AISA and AHSAA anymore. It's still all AHSAA. At least that's the way I'm getting this as it's coming to me in real time. So it means that there are going to be 8 championships instead of Super 7. You're going to have this Elite 8, I guess.
Well, I guess the private school folks will be big school, little school.
That's what I'm thinking. And there's no more multiplier. So for those who don't know, in AHSAA, I forget exactly what the multiplier was. It's changed through the years. But so for every student you have as a private school, it counts as 1.35 or 1.5 students or whatever, because the theory is that you recruit and you can get – well, I think all that's BS now because everybody's recruiting. And I can tell you this, back when I was at Indian Springs and playing basketball back in the day, using that multiplier stunk because, no, I promise you, we were recruiting, but we were recruiting people who were on the debate team. We didn't recruit a lot of b-ball players. So not every private school does it that way, and now everybody's sort of recruiting. So
reasons. If I'm upset about any of this, and it really, to me, is a legal thing, what upsets me about it is the idea that we're like, okay, private schools, you have to do your own thing because you all recruit, when it is just a fact that a lot of big 6A type programs under this new thing in the public schools also recruit. They maybe even more so than some of the private schools. That's what I don't like about it. It's sort of like, I don't know. It's like, I don't like that, but I do like that the private schools will continue to play the public schools in the regular season because I like when, quote, the best private school and maybe like a McGill plays Spanish sport. I mean, I like that. I don't want them separated forever, but I don't like this, but I'm the old man that's always shaking his fist at the class. I don't like change. I don't even like the designated hitter.
There's going to be a tie-in to what we just talked about and what we talk about next, right after I tell you about TurboTax. It is tax season, yo. Like, don't forget. Don't be like Homer Simpson and go, taxes, I paid those over a year ago. Tax season, That's always a great line. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or the guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every single deduction that you are due. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just 150 smacks all in. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. So you were saying you're averse to change. Well, I got problems for you over there at the Charles Bediako House of Change. So Angry Chuck we hope is coming back tomorrow against Tennessee. This has created a firestorm. I mean, there have been some articles by one, I think Matt Norlander of CBS was like, this is going to destroy college athletics. And my retort to him would be, if I knew him, it's kind of already destroyed. I mean, like, you're telling me this is the final straw? I mean, it's not all this other stuff that's going on. And meanwhile, as Jay Billis pointed out, and I've always been against Jay Billis on this. Jay Billis has always said, hey, he's always been very sarcastic in terms of, they tell us there's not enough money in college athletics, yet, Alabama's building a locker room with a waterfall in it. Clemson's building something with a water slide in it. Everybody's doing all these. He's like, it's just not enough money. And what we've done, as I've said a million times, we have swung the pendulum way too far towards the players. So here's my take on it. And Jay Billis is sort of like, he does bring up a good point. He says, hey, Lane Kiffin left in the middle of a playoff run or right at the beginning of a playoff run. And everybody just sort of said, yeah, he's just going to go to another place. And Charles Bediako wants to come back, or some other kid from a pro place in Europe wants to come in. And everybody's like, oh my God, oh my stars and garters. I mean, I want to tell you something. You can be disgusted with this, but you have to be disgusted with a lot. Don't tell me this is the thing that sent you over the top. I mean, you should have already been over the top with how college athletics has changed incredibly in the last couple of years.
I like Billis's takes. I mean, Billis is a really smart guy, and if there's going to be a commissioner of college basketball, he should be one of the candidates, because I think if he was running things, we'd probably have a better system. But Jay, where you're a little off here is, there was outrage when Lane left Ole Miss for LSU. Lane, we've said it on this show. Luke said it really well. It's one of the Luke quotes I'll always remember. It was really good when Luke said, when Lane Kiffin was at Ole Miss, he was a Luke Skywalker. Now he's in Baton Rouge. He's Darth Vader. I couldn't agree more. I think that's the national take on Lane Kiffin now, is that the Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss was likable. The Lane Kiffin at Baton Rouge is not, because of him leaving Ole Miss for LSU. I think Billis He somehow missed the outrage. I saw it every day for weeks, pretty much all the way until Ole Miss was eliminated in the playoffs. They were killing Lane on the SEC shorts stuff over the dog and everything else. I mean, Lane was vilified. So in that sense, I don't like Jay's take. My take hasn't changed. As a sports fan, I mean, I'm the first to admit I don't like this. I hate it. I don't think Charles Bediako should be eligible to play college basketball, because none of them should be. Not the kid at Baylor, not the kid at Florida, not the kid at Auburn. None of them should be eligible if they have spent one day playing professional basketball for any organization in the world. None of them should be eligible. That's what I believe. Now that several of them are eligible, I completely support Alabama and Bediako. Hey, y'all ruined this system, and we're just joining the ruination party. And everybody else out there that's got a similarly situated kid, go get him eligible. I don't care. I mean, the NCAA's already ruined this. The toothpaste is out of the tube. And for those that want to play, yes, but look at we can distinguish between the kid that played in Lithuania and the kid that played in the G League. You're already letting G League players play. You're already letting G League players play. And if you say, yeah, but they only signed with their G League team. You know what that is? Professional basketball.
100%.
And here's the basketball.
Here's the other thing, Jimmy. Mark Pope, for some reason, goes on his high horse. Is like, well, this is just awful. The NCAA could keep them out of the NCAA tournament or not count those wins or blah, blah, blah. Guess who Dink Pate is projected to go to? Dink Pate, who's in the G League right now, who says, hey, I'm looking at going back to college. Guess where everybody thinks he'll go? Kentucky. And again, just don't be a hypocrite. And look, I thought Todd Golden, I mean, it was kind of a crabby thing to say. He was like, well, I don't think they should do it, but we'll beat Alabama with or without Charles Bediako. Number one, he's probably right. But number two, I'm sort of like, yeah, that's the attitude everybody should have, because this could backfire. Look, Baylor hadn't exactly set the world on fire when they got this guy. In fact, they've had some blowout losses, if I remember correctly. So it's not like this is a shoe-in like, oh, Alabama just became the Lakers. Charles Bediako averaged 6.6 points in his career. Now he's certainly, I'm sure he's gotten better. He's certainly gotten older. We're not getting him for his points. We're getting him for his rim protection and his rebounds. So again, I feel like people are just, this is the final straw. Oh my God. I'm like, dude, we hadn't had straws in quite a while. Greta Thunberg told us to get rid of all our straws years ago. And since then we have not had a straw in college sports.
It is kind of funny to me that it just shows how inconsistent all of it is. AJ DeBanza at BYU, for all I know, he probably makes more money than entire G League rosters. And now we all have to clutch the pearls over a G League player playing college basketball. It's the outrage to it all has been outrageous. But again, I do want to reiterate that it doesn't. I don't think Bediako should be eligible, but when you march him off, you got to march off the Baylor kid, every G League kid, every professional European kid, march them all off. That's what I want. It's just probably too late to do that.
Well, here's the other thing. So you could make the argument, if you want to be on the other side, that, well, Bediako has had all this extra training and extra time and extra experience. Now, that's very true. But what is it when you are able to play AAU ball? And let's say that another kid from a smaller community that doesn't have the means to move back and forth and travel to AAU ball stuff, doesn't that kid get more opportunities, more training, more? I mean, this is. I'm
pretty sure they train the 26-year-old Europeans in their pro leagues.
Exactly.
Sure they do.
I mean, again, I don't want it to happen. I wish we just said no pros, period. That would be the easiest thing to do. But you open the door, and when you open the door, all this stuff always starts happening. And maybe you had good intentions when you open the door, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
The worst takes out there. I read one from Tom Mars, who's a famous, plaintiff's attorney that represents players, about Nate do the right thing and not play Bediako. That's also saying, Nate, do the right thing and disadvantage the program that pays you, $6-7 million a year to win games. Alabama should not be disadvantaged because others do similar things. So I've got no problem with playing Bediako. This is how we do things in the NCAA. But again, I wish we could stick the toothpaste back in the tube. My worry is how this is going to bleed into other sports like football, where players will now, not like where they're drafted, so they come back to college. I just hate that. But I think we've opened the door for that to happen as well.
And I do hate it. And I hate the fact that Alabama will be the reason. Everybody will say, well, it's all started with Alabama. It was going to start with somebody. I promise you. This is not
started with Alabama.
Yeah. I mean,
Alabama's got the loudest case out there right now.
I'm still pissed at Ed O'Bannon. You ruined my Sega. You ruined college sports. Anyway, all right, that's going to do it for today's pod. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.